how to deal with foodies. Let's go the other way. How do we engage them? This is what we decide to do. And to engage them, you've got to be a story that they want to incorporate into their story. You want to be part of their story. You can't change just your marketing campaign. If you want to be a part of their story, you've got to fit your company into their story or figure out a way that you're a positive part of their lives if you want to engage this group. You've got to tell your story. We send out an email to 7,000 people every week. We have a radio show. We reach 100,000 people with our radio show, far and wide. And with that, we reap our share of the benefits. Quality, sustainability, value, and responsibility. Natalia and Bastianich got it right. These are the cornerstones of the foodie story. This is what you have to have in your story and figure out where it lies in your company and let people know honestly where it is. They'll trust you as long as they can trust and verify and don't lie to them.
For two small restaurants, we've done a couple of little things that have kind of forced us towards the forefront of some of these issues and put us in the light, in a good light, with this particular cadre of people. What was the very first thing we did? 5, 6 years ago, we were the first restaurant in New Jersey to put solar panels on our roof and be powered by solar.
And we invited the Senator Barbara Buono, who's the leading campaigner for renewable and sustainable energy in the state of New Jersey, to come to our restaurant, held a press conference. The mayor was there. The president of the Board of Public Utilities was there. It was a big deal, and we got our story out. And on our menu every night, we keep these guests part of the story. It says on the menu, you know, 20% of the power for this restaurant comes from the solar panels on the ceiling. People feel like they're doing good by eating in my restaurant. They want to see the things that they consume be done in a responsible way, be brought to them in a responsible way. Local farmers, farm markets, and farm dinners, we've been doing that since the beginning, since 1992, since before it was fashionable, but it's fashionable now. Just see our farm? You know the picture on the box with the red barn and the bucolic farm and the happy farmer? That's Ben Konopacki. He is really a happy farmer, and especially when we buy all of his stuff. See that building in the back? That's actually a red barn, okay? And while he doesn't have cows, he sells the best darn strawberries in New Jersey. Those are early glows. He plants 4 different varieties of strawberry, and he gets 2 crops a year.
And these tomatoes are available for about 10 days. Tomatoes. Huh? These strawberries are available for about 10 days a year. Okay, and the early glows are my absolute favorite. So what do we do when the early glows come in and we have that 10-day period? Well, we energize those people who care. And we send them a notice, and we tell them that they're here, and the early glow strawberries are going to be here. And come to this restaurant, and you can share with Ben Konopacki's strawberries here at this restaurant, and they're spectacular.
And sometimes he's sitting at the bar having a drink. And we bring our staff out to the farm. This is Megan. She's a captain in the restaurant. She's on the floor. This is her in Ben Konopacki's field picking strawberries. It's not like we bring them out and make them work. If they want to come out, it's like, oh my God, that guy's a terrible boss. Farm work is
pick the strawberries.
Part of your setup today will be picking an acre of strawberries. No, but our employees are welcome to come out to the farm, and many of them do. And it's not like we get a lot of productivity from them out on the fields, as you can see. Megan is not the best harvester at all. And
I think Megan came back with 7 strawberries and a tummy ache that day.
Yeah, exactly. But we have a lot of fun on the farm at the same time. So this is... But Megan's part of the story. Our whole team is part of the story. And you've got to know Ben Konopacki and the farm and where the strawberries come from if you're going to communicate that story to our guests and our potential guests. 10,000 pounds of tomatoes is what we put up in our kitchen every year. You can't have Catherine Lombardi's restaurant and not put up your own tomatoes. It's not authentic. It's not real. It's just a brand. It's just a gimmick. It's just a commercial. We take those 10,000 pounds of tomatoes and we put them in the wine cellar. You can see, this is our rustic wine cellar. We have a beautiful formal wine cellar on the 2nd floor, but this is just a place where we meant to store wine, and people are like, can we eat in there? But I'm like, no, it's kind of gross. They're like, we love it. I'm like, will you pay me? And they'll say, yes. And I have dinner in the wine cellar. But in our wine cellar, we have put up our fruit along with our wine. It's the perfect temperature for that stuff, and the guests absolutely love it. We're a little trepidatious. Is this too informal? I don't know. But it works out really well, and the guests are part of the story. We also innovate in the way we put up fruits. We put up fruit in liquor. These are some locally grown nectarines that we put up in the summertime in Cointreau and Star Anise, and that's a very expensive proposition, but the way that we make it pay for itself is we use the nectarines on the plate. That's nectarines with foie gras and cornbread and a little honey gastrique. It's delicious. One of the dishes we did this summer with the nectarines themselves, and that's a cocktail that we use the liquid from it to make the cocktail, because Cointreau is $28 a bottle wholesale. So it's about not just coming up with the idea, but being creative in how to get enough yield to actually make it sustainable as a business.
This year we did a dessert that was peaches looked at longitudinally. It was peaches from this year, which were delicious and served very simply. It was peaches from 2 years ago put up in that Cointreau, and then it was candied peaches 2 years ago, candied, put up in that Cointreau, and then it was peaches from a year ago, which hadn't turned to the candy stage yet, and were still kind of very liquory. And people looked at that 3 different vintages of peach on the plate. They could be part of that story, part of that dish, part of that 2-year evolution.
And some of them have been regular customers for 3 years, and so they had those 3-year-old peaches 1 year ago and those 2-year-old peaches 2 years ago, and they became part of that story. If we just brought out, I was like, oh, here's a peach dessert, it's got some really good peaches on it, bonk, right? What is that? That is, you know, the quality of the food is still there, but without the story, without the context, it loses some of its value. We made a change in how we did bottled water. We got on Channel 7 News, Eyewitness News. You know, in New York City, they have the taxis that have like the news plays for you, like the involuntary television watching, and they play the news. We made the taxi news for like 2 weeks.
I'm getting phone calls from my friends. This might be the worst day of my life. I'm in a taxi cab looking at your face. Right.
I'm in a cab. I can't believe we were on Channel 7 News primetime. Nobody called me. We were in the taxi. I'm in a taxi on my way to the airport, and there you are. Listen. I'm like, I know what I sound like. I'm me. But this is the press release picture we sent out. That is me in our more formal wine cellar with the number of bottles we use in a week that would normally be sent to recycling. And the one little machine that we use to carbonate water now that keeps all those bottles from going into a landfill. We have reusable bottles. These are just some of the ways that we in our small businesses have looked at a problem and said, what would these people want us to do? As part of this community, what would make the community proud? What do we do that keeps us as part of this story and keeps them wanting to be part of our story? I don't have the answers for other businesses. Other restaurants, we do a lot of consulting, and that's a lot of what we do. But that's what we as business people need to bring to the table. But hopefully, if we've learned anything from this talk, or if we've had a discussion about anything that is of import, it's who these people are and what they care about, and that they're important. And if we want to engage them, I think we need to remember that the cornerstones of the foodie philosophy have been best articulated by the Batali Bastianich organization, changed slightly by me, because I just can't leave well enough alone. Quality, sustainability, value, and responsibility. That's what these people want. It starts with food, but once you get that as part of your food philosophy, it goes to your whole life. Why should we care? Aside from the fact that it's a business environment in which we live, because they just might be right. And that's my view of it. Mark?
Now, I want you to remember those immortal words of Catherine Lombardi. Don't put that in your mouth unless you know where it came from.
Thank you very much.